Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the March 14th, 2023 Board of Supervisors regular board meeting to order. Get a roll call, please.
Supervisor Reynolds.
Here.
Supervisor Trout.
Here.
Supervisor Brownell.
Here.
Supervisor Barnhart. Supervisor Borst.
Here.
Supervisor Hayes.
Here.
Supervisor Ferrara.
Here.
Supervisor Konenwetter. Supervisor Reinhardt.
Here.
Supervisor Partee.
Here.
Supervisor Heisen.
Here.
Supervisor Trout. Supervisor Enslow.
Here.
Supervisor Shipley.
Here.
You have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. I do not believe, do we have any presentations tonight? I do not believe so. Okay. No petitioners? Okay. Open privilege to the floor. If anybody from the public would like to address the board, now would be the time. You could come up to the podium.
All right, I'll break the ice.
If you could just state your name, please, and where you're from, and I'll start the clock. You have 5 minutes.
Give me a second.
Yep.
Excuse me. All right. My name is Doug McMillan. I'm from Seneca Falls. I returned this evening having proposed a question to y'all last month, which was, what can this county do to protect its citizens' constitutional rights, or what we the people should refer to as upholding the supreme laws of the land that the government of men and women running it must never break. So I'm asking you right now, have you guys looked into it at all? About what our county can do to protect our rights?
Who'd you send it to?
Excuse me?
You said you sent it to somebody
No, I'm asking you if you guys have looked into it.
from last month?
Yep, last month.
Are you sure you're at the right place to be at? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
have you been to Albany and Washington?
I'm talking to my county.
No, I know. I
I'm
bet.
talking to you.
Yeah, I know who you're
What does that
talking
have to do
to.
with Albany?
I was just wondering.
You're wondering stupid thoughts right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't think anything was stupid. I'm
You
sorry.
know? Okay, well, seems how none of you have looked into it, I looked into it for you, because I figured nobody would really pay attention to it. 5 counties in the U.S. have taken action against unconstitutional laws in government. One of them is Cattaraugus, New York. They passed an ordinance, which is County Act number 329-2021, opposing infringements on the inalienable rights of the people and declaring Seneca County, or this would be what Seneca County should do. This is what this is cut and pasted from Cattaraugus, but I just changed Cattaraugus with Seneca. So declaring Seneca County a constitutional county and establishing the mission statement of the county to conform therewith. Whereas members of the Seneca County Legislature, being elected to represent the people of Seneca County, are duly sworn by their oath of office to uphold the Constitution of the United States and New York State Constitution and laws, including the New York State Civil Rights Law. Whereas the Seneca County Legislature is determined to stand as a constitutional county to protect the rights provided to its citizens under the U.S. Constitution and its amendments. And whereas such protections will extend to rights specifically enumerated in the Constitution and its amendments, including but not limited to rights of freedom of expression, speech, association, religion, press and petition, the right to keep and bear arms, the right to protection of person and property from government overreach, and the right not to be deprived of life, liberty, or property. without due process of law, whereas such protections will also extend to all other rights neither enumerated in the Constitution nor its amendments, but which exist alongside the same as inalienable basic fundamental rights that are so deep-rooted in our society, excuse me, that they are deserving of protection from the governmental infringement and are thus protected by the 9th Amendment, including, but not limited to, the right to equality, liberty, and the pursuit of livelihood and happiness. Whereas Seneca County Legislature wishes to express its profound commitment to the rights of all its citizens of Seneca County to keep and bear arms, and proclaim that it is determined to stand as a constitutional county that recognizes, respects, and upholds Second Amendment rights, and states that it will use all legal means at its disposal to oppose, within the limits of the Constitution of the United States and the civil rights law of the state of New York, any efforts to unconstitutionally restrict such rights, in order to assure that its citizens will be able to keep and bear arms and use the same in defense of life, liberty, and property, whether in a well-regulated militia or individually. And whereas Seneca County Legislature stands and will continue to stand in strong opposition to any law that would unconstitutionally restrict or infringe upon the above recognized rights. It goes on and on. You guys should look it up for yourself. It's something that the county passed on their own without Albany, because what they're trying to do is protect themselves from Albany. I'm not sure who agrees with that, but Cuomo apparently took all sorts of rights away from us. I don't care if it was a scary time. We don't abandon those rights, and we need to stand up, and you guys need to lead. You guys are our leaders, right? It's time to lead. Lead with our Constitution. Let's get back to it. Thank you. You guys didn't do anything for my question, so I gave you all the information you need.
Mr. McMillan, right? Would you
Yes.
be willing to share that with our county attorney and we can look it over and review it and discuss it, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank
Mr.
you.
McMillan, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
You talk about this constitutional county. What do you believe that means? Do you believe that that means that Cattaraugus County is going to take a step back and say, we're not going to enforce any state regulation, mandate, or law that is not what they deem to be constitutional?
I would
Is
say
that what
so.
you-
I think that's something that we need to look into.
But do you believe that is what they are going to do? Do you believe that is what a constitutional county really means?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you have to push back. You can't sit here and think that they're not coming after our rights. They've been coming after our rights for a long time now.
But would it be fair to say?
We can't go through another pandemic and have everybody just shut us right off.
No, I understand that, and I'm not arguing that point. I think this is more about the Second Amendment is where you're coming from, correct?
Yeah, I mean, after that law was overturned, and then she immediately went and passed other
The
unconstitutional
SAFE Act and all those other things. I mean, I'm not arguing. My question is, who makes the decision what's constitutional and what is not constitutional?
Well, that's where we have the problem. We have people that are interpreting the Constitution instead of reading it.
But under the Constitution, it doesn't mention anybody about a convicted felon possessing a firearm, correct?
Right. I mean,
But do you understand what I'm saying? Is that
yeah, there's a lot to interpret.
It's easy
Maybe
to
we
say
need
we're a
sit down.
constitutional county, but what does it truly mean?
It means we sit down and decide. We go through it.
But who's we?
Well, the people.
The people of the county, the
People of the
legislature?
county. We tell you guys what to do. You guys work for us, right?
So you interpret what's constitutional and we act on that? Is that where we're going?
Listen, we have a Constitution that says, plain and simple, right to bear arms. Right?
Agreed.
I've been trying to buy a pistol for 2 months now because we've got to wait. It's been infringed on, right? It's been infringed, plain and simple. I own 2 guns that are now illegal for me to purchase. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's something that we need to push back on. If they come back and say that semi-automatics are illegal, our county has to say, no, they're not. No, they're not. You can't just pick and choose what you want to make illegal.
But isn't that more of a fight for the state legislature? They're the ones who are making the laws, not the county.
We're only following.
Well, how many illegal laws are we going to follow then? Until we say we're not going to follow these illegal laws, and is it because we're funded by them now? Is it the funding that we're worried about?
I don't think that's the issue.
I hope not. But apparently, I mean, if you don't think there's unconstitutional laws being made in Albany,
I'm not arguing that point. My point
is who decides
what's
county
unconstitutional.
does,
Well,
right?
yeah, we're running out of time here for this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
If you would please share that. I mean, Supervisor Trout, I don't want to cut you off.
No, I just wanted to add, I think, to perhaps where Supervisor Reinhardt was, or something to consider. I mean, in my mind, the Constitution is very clear and laid out. There are 3 branches of government. The third branch of government, the judicial branch, the Supreme Court, is clearly empowered with the ability to decide constitutionality. So, and I don't know the specifics of your case, but just as a quick thought was, if you disagree with the laws that is preventing you from purchasing any kind of firearm, right? You believe your Second Amendment is being violated, then the proper course would be to take that to up through the court system to the Supreme Court. That's how the Constitution, I mean, if we're going to talk about constitutionalism, that's how the Constitution was established and set up.
Well, I'm first I come to you because you're my leader, right? I petition you first. You're supposed to be acting on our behalf.
Yeah, but we're the legislative branch, and we clearly, like our role is to enact.
Right, and you guys write the law, and you guys would write the ordinance that I'm talking about. I'm not going to the judge and asking him to write a law. I'm asking you guys to, if you guys can't say that Cuomo and Hochul have stepped all over the Constitution in the past 3 years, then I don't know why you're leading, to be honest with you. You guys should be protecting us. That's what you're here for. And if you gotta, whatever you gotta do, because we can't do it, you guys should say, if a law is unconstitutional because it goes against it's obvious. You can't sit there and say that we've had all these Supreme Court cases where they've overruled, where they banned shotguns and they've banned shooting ranges. You can't, and the Supreme Court has overruled these. And then when our Supreme Court overrules them, our overzealous governor decides to make more rules. Somehow you guys got to petition her and find out where is this going? Because we've gone from being able to walk in, get a background check, and walk out with a weapon to now we're waiting 2 months, 3 months.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public that would like to address the board?
My name is Al Lester. I live on East Lake Road, down in Romulus. A little bit about myself. I turned 18 on the 7th of October.
Could you try to speak in the microphone a little bit? We're having I don't know if we can hear you. Thank you.
I'm not
Say
used-
Romulus?
I turned 18 on the 7th of October in 1957. Went to work on the 28th of that month. Come out of that same facility 44 years, 2 months, and 3 days later, but who's counting? I've worked hard all my life. There's an old saying on a Sunday afternoon, well, I better go home and get to bed. Got to go back to the salt mine. Well, I've been there too. I've worked in the salt mine. I've built steel buildings. I've done blacktop driveways. I've worked all my life. And to get what I have today, nothing was given to me. I worked. My late wife and I were frugal. We saved our money. And now we have a home on East Lake Road. Well, as you know, taxes keep going up. Grocery bills go up. Utilities go up. My income doesn't go up. And I've lost her income. So I'm considering renting what I did for my grandkids. I put a little efficiency apartment in the basement for them to come and stay and enjoy the lake. So like I said, losing her income, I decided maybe I should do a short-term rental, okay? Well, we're being taxed, or whatever you want to call it, bed tax, 3%, okay? So if maybe I'd make $8,000. That's $240 I got to pay the county. You want to go up to 5%? Well, 5 times 8. You all know how that math works. Well, the way I kind of look at it, thank you. Seneca County had a gift when they closed the depot. I think most of that property went back on the tax roll, correct? Anybody?
It is now, most of it.
So there's an increase.
Some of it, yeah.
All right. So there, well, I know Lincoln Landing came back on the tax roll, and new multiple houses have been built, and the taxes are pretty good. So I guess bottom line, I'm saying enjoy what you've got. Leave people like me alone. I'm willing to pay the 3%, no problem. But enough is enough. We've got to stop somewhere. And I do believe 3% is plenty. Maybe if our IDA wasn't so eager to give tax exemptions and so on for numerous years down the road, that's revenue you're losing. I guess if it was, you know, tourism is a great thing. We're all enjoying it. And those in business enjoy the sale of the tourism coming in. We don't have enough motels or hotels to house them all. So it's people like me and the rest of the people that's along the lake shores that provide those dwellings for them to stay. Without them, where are they going to go? Where are they going to stay? And I sometimes wonder what happened to free enterprise. You know, a man should be able to do pretty much as long as he's in with codes, fire codes, and rules of his township. Yeah, I don't mind paying a little bit, but let's stop somewhere. We can't keep going up and up and up with the economy the way it is. So my complaint is, and my opinion is, your bed tax should stay at 3%. The more and more people that are doing short-term is more and more money you're going to receive. Some of the local townships have introduced programs. They're charging their residents, I would say, an extreme for the privilege of renting their property. It is their property, and as long as they're within code and the rules of the township, why punish them? And if you add another 2% to the 3, it's another whip. It's just never ending. So my complaint is stay at 3%. Be happy with what you got. And the more short-term rentals that are developed and come on board, the more money you're going to make. Don't deter somebody from renting. And in my case, it gets too bad, I'll just lock the door. I don't have to do it, but it does replace what I lost. Okay, thank you.
Supervisor Shipley would like to ask you a question, sir.
Sir, can I ask you a question? You are the property owner,
Don't make
correct?
it hard.
You're the property owner.
I am.
And what you're saying is you rent a room out to people to stay during the summertime?
What I did is the lower part of my house opens out to the lake.
Yeah,
And I made an efficiency apartment with a bathroom, shower, and 2 bedrooms, and a kitchenette for my grandkids and my daughters to stay.
oh, your own family.
Yeah, and then I decided, well, your kids, if you've got kids, they grow and they kind of fade away from the mom and pa, They go their own route.
Yes, I do. I was just going to point out that the bed tax is a tax that the people that rent it pay, not the owner. That's a tax on the rental itself. That's not a tax that comes from the owner of the property.
Well, it does in a roundabout way.
Now that you're explaining it, I see what you're talking about.
For instance,
That's not the way most of them work.
If I had a rental agent, that agent charges the rental people.
Yeah, and
they pay you.
He would put that fee on the people that pay the rental.
It's escalating at 3%, 5%, and the people renting, they might say, geez, I'd like to go to Seneca Lake this summer for a week or 2, or maybe just a weekend. But boy, their prices are so high, they keep going up and up, so they don't come.
I can tell you that our bed tax rate is the lowest in the area.
You're right.
For surrounding
I've been doing a little homework. Yes, you're right. Our close neighbor is 4.
Cayuga County is 5. Ontario County is 4%, plus the city of Geneva adds another 3%, and the city of Canandaigua adds another 3% to the county's 4%.
Well, I haven't been to each one of those counties.
But that's, I'm just saying that that's how it works, though.
Yes.
Thank you. I understand what you're saying, if you're going to rent to family.
Well, now, because the family is kind of, going their own way, they don't come to see Grandpa too much anymore. And you know how that goes.
God bless you.
So I might decide to rent it out. And if I do, the agent will collect the 3% and then send it on.
That's correct.
Right, true.
And then you send it to Mr. Shipley, and he does what he does.
Now, we distribute our monies in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, that's my opinion, 3%. And
thank you.
We don't need to gouge our citizens. I'm involved a little bit in the town of Romulus, and we don't have to, per se yet, short-term rental program, but it's being worked on. And I don't think we're going to gouge our citizens like some townships have. And you add that fee onto your citizens, and then the county adds 5% more. It just keeps eating away at, they might just, like I explained to somebody, if you've had enough, you're like a boxer's trainer. When he feels his boxer's had enough, you throw in the towel. So that's it.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I agree with you, Al. Pardon? I agree with you. We don't need to do that.
Anybody else from the public?
I agree with you. Want me to disagree with you, or want me to agree with you? I agree with you. Agree with me to be a first. You rascal. He harasses me every time he comes down East Lake Road. I don't harass you. More like you harass.
Anybody else from the public would like to address the board?
You may have to use the gavel.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. All right.
Is there anybody else?
Anybody else here? All right, moving on. Can I get a motion to approve the meeting minutes, please?
Second.
First and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Reports of special committees. Any special committee like to address?
Mr.
Go
Chairman?
ahead, Supervisor Borsch.
Thank you. Just a quick update from the opioid committee. Mr. Ettman sent a message this morning letting us know that CVS, Walgreens, and Walmart have entered into a settlement. Seneca County looks like we'll get $60,000 in additional funding for 2023, plus an additional $10,000 to $15,000 over the next 9 years. Should be a resolution to the board next week, or no, next month. And then we can approve that. If we approve that, then that'll be all good to go. But still working on different ones, I guess. That's it.
Sounds good, thank you. Any other special committees?
Chairman.
Supervisor Jeff Trout.
The, last night we had the Seneca County Cooperative Extension monthly meeting, and just to give folks a heads up, there's quite a bit that this particular group does. I mean, the list is endless. But two things I would like to make the board aware of is that, one, they continue their working on their relocation plan to find a new place to live, new place to work for CCE. In addition, this is particularly important, I think, considering where we're going in terms of ag tourism, is that they are entering into an agreement to work with surrounding counties and adding $5,000 to their budget, or dedicating from their budget to support marketing and the growing of fruit-grown items. And for example, and this will be realized through the Lake Ontario Fruit Team, which we will be combining, working with together with other counties. So they'll be working on that effort. There's actually a growing list of folks that are growing fruits of different varieties in Seneca County. So, in addition, we also, Seneca County Soil and Water, we had our monthly meeting today, and I just a couple items wanted to make the county board aware of. Is one, it would be good to remind, if you have, this is actually for Roy and for others, those folks who are town supervisors as well, that when cleaning ditches, there's additional or increasing amount of information, and I'm sure Supervisor, oh God, where is he? He's not here tonight. Cronwetter would appreciate this, is when cleaning ditches, and perhaps remind your town superintendents that free seeding is available from Soil and Water with simply a phone call. They will come after the ditch is cleaned and will seed that. And there's proof that in terms of soil deposition and erosion, and actually phosphorus and nitrogen retention, that's something that, particularly considering the state of our lakes. In addition, related to that, Town of Fayette has entered in with Soil and Water and SWEO, is it SWEO?
Well,
The Seneca and Cayuga Lake watershed road drainage assessment, and that will be for all of Seneca County, and working with the highway superintendents to do a basically a database of road drainage systems, including, to some extent, including culvert pipes, but looking at areas that need remediation to prevent erosion. So again, focusing on that. And the end product, it's a 2-year study and fully funded by the federal government and Soil and Water. And the end product will be useful in terms of a spreadsheet, a narrative about those particular roads, and photos to go along with it. And actually, Mike pointed out in our meeting today, particularly for those groups who have had dealings with FEMA, that this database would be of use to you in a FEMA event. So if you have to prove that, in fact, certain damage took place and was not pre-existing, this would be FEMA acceptable, if you will. We continue to keep our eye on the weed issue. On March 23rd, there will be a joint sponsored Landscape to Lake Farming in a Healthy Watershed event or workshop. That'll be at Ginny Lee Cafe. I'm not sure if all supervisors got that invite, but anyone who's interested, that just let Mike or I know if you are. We can get you the registration information for that. Oh, there is a Great Lakes Commission grant for the Finger Lakes to look at phosphorus and sediment reduction. It's a $300,000 commitment between Ontario, Yates, and Seneca County. That's something that Soil and Water will be participating in. Again, looking at protecting the lakes. And that's it. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, one more thing. We did approve, our board, Soil and Water Board did approve the memorandum of agreement for, I don't want to call it shared services, but for services that the county provides to Soil and Water. And we particularly wanted to thank Mitch for his help in working with Aaron on that, and for Attorney Etman for putting that together and reviewing it. Like I said, it looks good. We approved it today, and we're good to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Trout. Anybody else have anything they'd like to discuss?
Yeah, the guy next to you here.
Supervisor Shipley.
I'll write that down.
Thank you, Chairman. The Seneca County Airport Advisory Committee met on Wednesday, March 8th at the airport, and to discuss ongoing issues. We heard status reports from our consulting engineers as far as where we're at, and some new construction that is proposed, and we're waiting on some grant funding. And the other important topic that we discussed, the airport manager has asked for a courtesy car at the airport because it's such a hassle to get a rental car in Seneca County these days. And so the county manager, Mitch, is looking into it. The airport manager talked with other airports and got the ones that had courtesy cars and got the form that they use for that particular use. And right now that's being reviewed by our law department. And we hope to have something on that in the very near future. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Shipley. Anybody else?
Can I ask you a question? Yeah, how's the Willard Special Committee coming out? What are they doing? Shouldn't we maybe have monthly reports on the progress of Willard?
Sure, sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, that's all.
Thank you, Supervisor Heisen. Okay, anybody else? All right, Chairman's remarks. Been a busy few weeks of meeting with different people, going through some issues, and I'd like to thank the county staff for working with me and fellow supervisors. Have a lot of things we're working on, some good, some bad, but working through them nonetheless. Other than that, I don't have anything else. County Manager.
I don't have anything tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. County Attorney. Okay, thank you. Communications.
Communications 18 through 25 have been received and filed.
Thank you very much. All right. First up, we have number 13, Supervisor Reynolds, Ways and Means.
Thank you, Chairman Heiss, or I want to say it every time. Chairman Enzel. Board of Supervisors authorized amendments to the 2022 Seneca County budget.
Got a second?
Support.
Got a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Board of Supervisors,
No, go ahead.
Board of Supervisors support Seneca County's participation in equitable reverse mortgage assistance program.
Support.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 15, Supervisor Borsch.
Board of Supervisors approved 2023 resource allocation plan for state aid funding for youth programs.
Support.
Second.
First and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Supervisor Boris, number 16.
Board approves Lakeview Health Service Contract Amendment and associated budget amendment.
Support.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 17, Supervisor Boris still.
Supervisors authorize acceptance of $189,364 from the opioid settlement fund allocated directly to the local government unit by the Office of Addiction and Support Services, OASIS.
Support. Second.
Got a second? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 18, Supervisor Hayes, would you take the lead on this for me?
Board of Supervisors approves Seneca County Access Control Upgrade. Amends 2023 county budget.
Support.
Got a second? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Supervisor Hayes?
Board of Supervisors approve day automation yearly service contract agreement.
Support.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 20.
Board of Supervisors authorizes utility easements related to construction of the STS facility on Thurber Drive.
Support.
Second.
Many seconds there. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Seneca County Board of Supervisors award construction contract and authorize budget adjustments for accessibility improvements to the historic Seneca County Courthouse.
Support.
First and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 22, Supervisor Jeff Trout.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Board of Supervisors approves the creation and filling of one full-time accountant clerk position in the Finance Department.
Or
A second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Board of Supervisors approves the creation and filling of one full-time senior account clerk position in the Finance Department.
Support.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
Board of Supervisors approves the creation and filling of one full-time principal account clerk in the Finance Department.
Support.
A second. Any discussion?
Yeah, are these positions fill-in positions? Not created new positions, correct?
No, they're filling.
Pardon?
Filling.
They're-
These positions were created temporarily in the anticipation of pending retirements. I'm over here.
I'm sorry. I can't see it from the hallway, I'm sorry.
That's okay. These positions were created through vacancy in anticipation. They're temporary positions in anticipation of retirements and vacancy due to a medical that are upcoming. The theory being that if we fill these now, when they leave, they'll be trained and ready to step in rather than have to go through the training process.
So when are their anticipated retirements?
June, May, end of May. The other is unclear at this point, but these positions expire at the end of the year and are not renewed at the end of calendar year 2023.
So we're going to bring 3 people on for training purposes, and then when the 3 people retire,
Those positions, the temporary positions go away, and then they will roll into the full-time position.
got it. So basically, it's an unbudgeted type of item for the most part. I mean, there's probably money in the budget to do it. Pardon?
It's not in the specific line item for that position, but the
Right.
money was.
There's money there because of
Yes.
vacancies that are existed throughout.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Board of Supervisors approves the creation and filling of one full-time senior caseworker position in the Department of Human Services.
Support.
A second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Board of Supervisors approve the amendments to the Seneca County procurement policy in furtherance of federal community development block grant program requirements.
Support.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, Okay, so hold that. All right. Board of Supervisors adopt amended procurement policy in furtherance of federal community development block grant program requirements.
Support.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Supervisor, did I miss number 25?
I believe so.
Okay, sorry. Thanks. Board of Supervisors approves the creation and filling of one full-time senior account clerk typist position in the Department of Human Services.
Support.
Second, this is again for number 25.
25, yep. Sorry.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Read that one. 9.
Oh, got one more. Board of Supervisors proclaims in recognition of the bicentennial of Wayne County, New York.
Support.
That was number 28. Second, any discussion?
That's 29.
Or 29, I'm sorry.
On page 28, yep. I would just note that Mr. Gable did add there, we're removed from the town of Junius. He did put that in there. Remember last time you asked that?
Oh, yes.
You mentioned the town of Junius, so that amendment was made.
Support.
A second, any more discussion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 30, Supervisor Reinhardt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Board of Supervisors designates county property as surplus and authorizes sale by auction.
Or second.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 31, Supervisor Reinhardt.
Board of Supervisors accepts fiscal year 20 regional hazardous materials grant.
Support.
Second.
A second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 32, Supervisor Reinhardt.
Resolution introducing proposed local law of the year 2023, a local law to waive residency for certain positions within the Seneca County Sheriff's Department and providing for a public hearing.
Support.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And the public hearing will be on the 11th of April.
Thank you. Number 33, Supervisor Shipley.
Thank you, Chairman. Resolution proclaiming April 2023 as Fair Housing Month.
Support.
A second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 34, Supervisor Shipley.
Resolution to reappoint Harriet Haynes as Seneca County Fair Housing Officer.
Second.
Lots of support. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 35,
Number
Supervisor.
35, resolution seeking home rule legislation for the introduction of New York State Senate and Assembly bills to amend the tax law in relation to authorizing a 2% increase of hotel motel taxes in Seneca County.
Support.
Second.
Second, any discussion? Supervisor Jeff Trout.
Oh, no, just second. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Any discussion?
Could I, a clarification on this?
Supervisor Reinhardt, go ahead.
By passing this, are we merely asking the state for the approval to do this? We are not committing to doing this, correct?
We need state legislation to do this. This would not take effect to 2024. You couldn't do this until.
No, I understand, but my question is by asking the state to do this, are we basically saying to the state that we have already committed to raising this?
Yeah, we're asking them to raise our.
Asking them to.
The same thing that we did in 2019, that we didn't get Senate approval.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
This doesn't necessarily obligate us to, a little bit different than Mike's question. If this is approved, it doesn't necessarily then we still get to decide what we would do with that additional percentage, correct?
Correct.
That's a whole other question.
Whole other question, right? Any other discussion?
I think you should ask the vacation rentals and the hotels if they're in favor of it before you act on it. You should send it back, table it, but I won't waste my time. I don't think I got any support, but it's not fair. You don't need it.
Thank you, Supervisor Heisen. Any other discussion?
Do we have,
Supervisor Partee.
what do we do for enforcement for the short-term rentals? I mean, is the county,
The county treasurer handles that.
okay, do we have any statistics on how many of those short-term rentals are actually paying the tax?
The county treasurer is not here tonight, but at the last meeting, he said that he probably was seeing compliance from about 50%. That's why they hired, the treasurer has hired a company that surveys the vacation rentals to determine where they are by address. And he's looking into each one of them individually.
Bob, do you know, do they go to the towns and ask them first, like who they have on record as being short-term rentals, or?
That's, I wouldn't want to commit an answer for the county treasurer.
Because I just mentioned, because we're creating a database to that effect, so.
We're using a similar database that the county is using, okay? We're having a difficult time tracking short-term rentals. I agree with the gentleman from Romulus tonight that another tax is something that's becomes overburdened sometimes, but there's also a problem with short-term rentals in Seneca Falls. I can't speak for the rest of the townships, but there's a lot of people who would like to eliminate short-term rentals because the problem is they're out of control. Supervisor Cronenware is not here, who lives in the middle of short-term rentals explosion in Seneca Falls. So there are two sides of the story. Will an increased tax affect short-term rentals? Probably not, because a lot of the people that are using the short-term rentals come from downstate, and they think it's a bargain to come to Seneca County and enjoy the lakes, no matter what the tax is. So there's kind of two sides of the story, but I would hope that if I own a short-term rental, I'm passing along any tax increase to the occupants. So, if, you know, again, you change the rate to reflect the tax so that the homeowner is not being punished by the tax itself, type of thing.
Mike, I have a follow-up question. Does the town have any special laws that they enforce on short-term rentals as far as like excessive noise?
Yeah, the town just recently passed local laws about 2 months ago, specifically geared toward short-term rentals. Fayette probably has the most aggressive short-term rental laws, and they're very good laws. But yeah, we did pass them, and you know, we're working with homeowners. The problem is that there are a handful of full-time residents that live on Lower Lake Road in this area, and obviously those are the people that are being affected the most, obviously. So everybody else is in the short-term rental business at the time, you know what I'm saying? So yes, but we have, to answer your question, we passed some new restrictions and related on parking and residency, occupancy, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, and I was just going to add,
Supervisor Jeff Trout.
I think to Mike's point, part of what we're looking at is long term, we're preparing for basically a full-time land use officer who is going to be not just our codes and stuff, but also dealing with the increasing issues and complexities of dealing with short-term rentals. So that's why I asked that in terms of if the additional percentages are not yet dedicated, you know, it might be one of those areas where we could assist the towns that are having those issues, because it's, I mean, we're looking at potentially doubling or tripling what we spend on the enforcement for this, to make sure that this is done properly and doesn't, overwhelm our full-time residents, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking in Seneca Falls to, we have obviously zoning, different zoning, residential, commercial, et cetera, but the way short-term rentals have expanded, I'm going to be looking at creating another zoning category for short-term rentals. I mean, we probably have more short-term rentals than we have we definitely have more short-term rentals than industrial zoning, so it's time.
Well, and if you think, just to add to, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Just to add to that, but kind of thinking about where the money comes from to fund the government and fund that particular thing, if we're going from roughly a cost of $15,000 to, we're figuring $27,000 and then even higher, if tell me if I'm not seeing this correctly, but if I can charge folks from outside the county who have the disposable income to pay for that additional governmental expense, I feel that's more appropriate than it is to raise my property taxes on the folks who live here and can't afford it and cover that expense, right? I mean, that's how I'm looking at it, so.
Any other questions?
Town of Barrack just went through all of this. We've had, for 4 months, we've found everybody. They have to get a license. They had to go before a public hearing in the last 3 months with the planning board.
Right here, Bob. I got it, right here.
But you're in Romulus.
I know.
What goes on in one township spills over into the other one.
But anyway, we've done a good job on that. We have in the ordinance all the noise issues, fireplace issues, how late you can have the fireplaces. If they don't abide by those, we'll throw them out. And we've limited how many we can have, too.
Are you going to actually throw them out?
Thank you for sharing that.
What?
I'm renting, and I violate one of your zoning, you're going to throw me out of that rental? I don't think you will.
Supervisor Partee, did you have something?
You guys have enough money to pay for that.
Okay.
I just want to summarize my understanding from what Supervisor Reinhardt said. So we're going to make a home rule request, assuming this passes. If the state agrees with us, we're automatically, the bed tax increases to 5%, correct? Is that what you were saying?
Potentially, yes. That's
so, I mean.
Mitch, you wanna, I believe that's how the system works. Ours is currently 3%.
Right, so it'll go to 5%.
Back in 2016, we tried to raise it to 4%. That didn't get Senate support. In 2019, we tried to raise it from 3% to 5%. Again, that did not get Senate support. And so this is just a recurring thing.
Okay. And then to reiterate what Supervisor Trout said, I mean, I would like to see a plan for what we're going to do with the extra money if this passes. So, but that decision is not being made now. This is
that's right.
We will be
until you know you're going to have additional money. Okay. If this went into effect, it wouldn't go into effect to the next fiscal year, and we would have. That's why it's home rule legislation, which the legislature takes up the last day of session, which will be potentially in June. That's why it's fairly time sensitive.
Bob, do they typically just have like a whole list of home rule things that they?
Yeah, the last day is potentially home rule legislation. Gotcha. You know, and we have a couple more that are going to be before them too, not on besides this topic.
Gotcha.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
1 nay from Supervisor Heisen. Motion passes. New business. Somebody's going to issue, who's going to handle the Rule 29?
For which one?
Can we do a blanket Rule 29 for all three?
We can. Our specialist is not here tonight.
Okay, I'll offer a Rule 29 resolution for the consideration of 3 ongoing resolutions.
Second.
First and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passes.
who is A? The resolution that's on here, who's that fall under? Ways and Means.
Oh,
Maybe you, Mike.
Reynolds.
I guess I could do that. Resolution approving the home rule request for passage of a Senate Bill number S 4975 and Assembly Bill number A 5008, introducing New York State legislation for an extension of additional 1% sales tax.
You get a second?
Support.
Supervisor Partee. Although, or any discussion? All
This
those in,
keeps our sales tax where it is, where it's been for a number of years. How often do we have to renew this?
Every 5 years.
Is it 5 years?
Well, this one here will
County
be
Attorney,
5.
do you wrote this for us, I believe.
Legislature adopted 3 years for everyone.
Keeping it the same. Keeping it the same.
Last cycle, so
How often does it have to be renewed?
3 years.
3 years. Thank you.
Do you know, Bob, offhand what 1% equals in dollars?
Oh, this is sales tax.
This is to keep it the same. It's not gonna raise the rate.
No,
Yeah,
no,
this-
I get it, but if for some reason we didn't pass this, what would we have to come up with to
What would that 1%
make up the
increase?
difference? Yeah.
You lose about a quarter of your sales tax.
Yeah. That's,
Quarter or else a third, depends on how the math is.
Okay.
Let's put millions of dollars. How's that?
Millions of dollars.
Millions of dollars.
Good on the math there.
any more discussion?
Maybe a Minder's graduate.
All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we got
I'll
B.
handle B.
Okay.
Supervisors appoint Bruce Murray to Seneca County Funding Corporation Board of Directors.
Second.
Support.
Lots of support. Any discussion?
Yes. What is this? I've never.
This is for the IDA.
Well, this is the IDA.
Yeah, this was requested by the IDA.
I totally support Bruce. I just didn't know.
Yeah,
So the Seneca County Funding Corporation is the same as the
it's
IDA,
an arm of the IDA.
arm of the IDA. Okay. All right. Good. He's awesome. I fully support this. Bruce is great.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Mr. Chairman, if
Supervisor Reinhardt.
Number C, and I'll refer to Beth Partee for C.
Supervisors support the allocation of American Recovery Act funding to advance broadband engineering design project.
Added in.
Or,
First and second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, now Supervisor Reinhardt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to enter into an executive session pursuant to Section 105, Sub 1A and D of the New York State Open Meetings Law, and invite the following individuals to attend: all members of the Board of Supervisors, the county manager, the county attorney, and emergency management and provider personnel.
Second.
Got a second? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.